If you're headed to Cancun to go experience the nightlife, you should. It's really good. But when I was doing my homework to try to figure out on YouTube where I should go and what's poppin' and what it's like, I just saw too many videos of people walking around with their camera phones, videoing everything, which is great because now I know exactly what it looks like. But I feel like I have 500 more questions than I started with. So in this week's video, I'll be sharing with you what the vibe is like, but more importantly, I'll be sharing with you tons of tips and not all those money tips, but rather the helpful tips so that you can go have the best experience enjoying Cancun nightlife coming up. Ooh, Cancun nightlife is so fun. I am all about providing super helpful travel tips. And if you're new here, I'm Christine with Where in the World to See Out. I make travel videos every week to help you get up, get out, and go travel. So if you like to travel, consider subscribing. Today, I'll be phoning in a friend.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Ibis Hernandez.
To help me give you guys all the helpful tips and create the video I wish I got to see before I went out in Cancun. Let's dive in. To give some context around my trip, I was in Cancun at the end of May 2021, and people are here to party, even though it's orange status. And if you don't know what that means, make sure you check all of my helpful show notes, including the video that talks about traveling to Cancun right now during the pandemic, so you can understand what those different statuses might mean.
I am genuinely curious about what kind of adventure is going to go on tonight, but there's only one way to find out.
And to be honest, I wasn't sure what a Tuesday night was going to be like. That last clip was shot from the hotel I was staying at, which if I could do it over again, staying right in that location, especially if you want to enjoy the nightlife, is super helpful. This is a walking type of area, which is amazing that you don't have to cab around to different places. You can literally walk everywhere. And on this occasion, I stayed at the Aloft Hotel, and I only paid with tax and fees $84.88, which was amazing. And I was able to walk to all the places I wanted to go. Full video about that in the description below. Ooh, this is actually a helpful tip from my girls. So I had just come from Holbox Island, so I was not super fancy dressed up on this occasion. But if you are a girl and you have very high heels, when I say everything is right there and it's walking, you can walk around. Yeah, girls, bring out the big heels because the walking is very minimal. Bring out the big guns. Let me talk you through the game plan so you understand where we're going in this video. I had spent the whole afternoon walking around on the beach, and actually a helpful tip, we were trying to just pop in somewhere to grab a drink, but because there are so many all-inclusives along the beach, you can't just pop in somewhere. We literally walked for 20 minutes and couldn't find a single place because it was just resort after resort, and they're not places where you can go in and get a drink unless you're staying at that resort. So our game plan was to get off of the beach, find a place to have a drink, go get a COVID test, then go back to the hotel and get drinks, which, helpful tip, the Aloft Hotel comes with a wristband that gives you 12 hours of drinks, open bar all day long. Granted, it is bottom shelf. So I was paying for my drinks separately if you want top shelf, but they are very affordable at around $8 to $10 per drink. Then it was time to shower. Then we were gonna grab a bite to eat. And then we were gonna go drink and party and that kind of fun stuff. So we started walking around, and real fast we found where we were going to, because if you're playing Nelly, you're basically calling my name. So to Senor Frogs, we went.
Hey, yeah, we're going.
And I was shocked by the vibe at Senor Frogs. Everyone was so nice. When we came in, the hostess was super nice. We sat at the bar, and as soon as we sat down, some random dude was like talking to us and then bought us shots. And we were really suspicious at first, and then we realized it was the DJ MC guy, and he was really kind and really funny. But vibe-wise, I would say it was fairly busy. It was probably around 50% capacity at the time we were there, which was at 6:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. But I was dancing the entire time because they were playing a really solid hip-hop set. Ooh, and here's a helpful tip about the frog.
Pro tip for you. If the frog comes to take pictures with you, he's expecting a tip.
Yes.
No free photo.
That was not expected because he was trying to indicate that he wanted money, and I didn't realize that was the case.
I wish he would have just told me from the beginning, because then I would have been like, yay or nay. I don't like feeling forced like I'm into something. I have no problem spending money, but once you're like, you have to do it, I'm like, there are other places to do this at. And I don't need to take a picture with you, Frogman. I'm sorry.
So unless you purposely want pictures with the frog, just know that's the case. But afterwards, we went to go get a COVID test. And if this is something at the time in which you're watching the video, you need some help with, make sure you check the video in the description below. But there were trucks set up all over the nightlife area where you could quickly pop in, just like I did, to go grab a COVID test and then back to the hotel to get some drinks.
Get a drink and a COVID test.
Okay, let's talk about where to go to grab something to eat in this area because it's pretty ragey 24/7. And what I mean by that is places play their music so loud that you will not be able to talk to the people around you or hear yourself thinking while you're eating your
It
meal.
was really ragey back there. I think I want to eat dinner somewhere where I can actually hear myself thinking. And our options are seafood and pasta, which seems like a bad idea in Mexico, so probably Mexican food in Mexico.
There's a lot of big format restaurants like Hooters and things like that in that area. So I'm not looking to eat authentic, amazing hole in the wall food over there. And the other thing is if you're looking for restaurants and you're using a resource like Google Maps, for example, know that some of the all-inclusive restaurants might show up on there. So just know that because you don't want to show up at a restaurant and realize, oh, it's inside of an all-inclusive that you're not staying at. And so you can't actually eat at that restaurant. So just a tip to be aware of. And also I just in general lowered my expectations of going out to eat while staying in this specific area of Cancun. So if you're a foodie, consider jumping in a cab. Cabs are very cheap and go eat somewhere else. But that wasn't what I cared about tonight. I cared about drinking.
I didn't think it was going to be lit here. I came for a mellow dinner, but I'm happy to see that.
Which one did you get?
I got pork chop tacos.
Okay, I'm full of food.
When's the last time you done yoga?
Full of food, and I am ready for more adventures.
So that was a totally fine experience, got the job done, I wasn't hungry anymore, and I was ready to go drink afterwards. Here's another example of a time I went out to eat.
I'm not really a fan of is there's not a lot of great eating options in at least the area of Cancun that I'm in. And so a lot of the restaurants try to turn into like the whole oons vibe where it's really loud, really early at night. So let's see how successful we can be. This one actually has good reviews on TripAdvisor, so we're gonna check it out.
Eating at Monkey Business was totally fine, but just so you know, a water, a beer, 2 burritos, and a side of guacamole without tip will cost you $31. So that's a great value. And a helpful tip, if you are looking to go somewhere that is insanely quiet, but has a really nice upscale ambiance with nice lighting, then there's a Jewish restaurant called Ember, and they have a very nice wine list that's kosher, that's right in that area. Okay, so quiet is nice, but let's talk about the party part of things. So we started our night, again, it's a Tuesday, at around 10:30 p.m., and we were walking around just trying to see what's good, and so we decided to go to Coco Bongo, and I had never been before, and Ibis had been, so this is the way he describes it.
You might go over there and think it's like a traditional club, and it's not. It's essentially a show where you could just let go at.
So true, and I definitely let go.
Because it's not like a traditional dance floor there early. Some people will go over there and it's not what they expect. But I love it personally. I love the music that they play. I think the shows are cool. I mean, some of the characters are scary and their costumes are outdated. I don't go for the show. I go for the music and the whole vibe.
Let's talk about some helpful tips because from these videos you can see that it looks very open, but not every nightclub is open and operating right now under full capacity. Again, it was orange status while I was there, and if things move into red status, these places will not be open anymore. So it's very important to stay up to date with the Mexico government website, link in the description below so you can check that out. But a few tips for Coco Bongo. How much did I pay to get in? It was around $75 per person to get in, and drinks are separate. We stayed for about an hour and a half, and they turn on the lights when they want you to leave.
No, they want you out, but they turn on the lights, and you're not supposed to be seen in this kind of lighting.
Which was somewhere in the 12:30 a.m. time frame, which, by the way, this night is not even close to being over. But if you're having some fun with me, make sure you cheers that like button and consider subscribing and add add your tips in the comments below so we can all help each other, because I'm only speaking from my experience.
And we all want helpful tips.
All right, let's take it downstairs to the other part of Coco Bongo, which is their downstairs club area that stays open even later. And I do want to be helpful with the prices, so I did take pictures of the menu for you so you can stop the video right here and zoom in to look at the prices if you really care about how much drinks are here.
I love a lot of dancing. I'm sweating. I would do it again. Dominos.
But they had a really cool party vibe downstairs and it was really fun, and we stayed there for quite some time. Here's a question people always ask me, and it's about the ice. Is it okay to drink the ice? For me, it's different every place I go to. When I was in Zanzibar earlier this year, even at the nicer nightclubs, I did not drink the ice. But in Cancun, I chose to, and I was perfectly fine. And one thing I was very curious about was what was outside of the club. There was a Dominos guy outside, and I was curious, and I was impressed with his hustle. He was ready for you. And I was curious about it, but I didn't do it, but Ibis did. And this is how he describes it.
But my mom told me don't get candy from strangers out there selling candy. It's weird. At 3 o'clock in the morning outside the club now. God, it sounds good in theory. I don't know.
A helpful tip to know is that you're not supposed to have open containers. In other words, you're not supposed to drink on the streets of Cancun. While it might not always be enforced, know that that is the law. And after this adventure, we went on a walk to go find our next adventure. But know that if you're someone who wants to plan these things in advance, look in the description below, because I provided a couple helpful links to Viator where you can buy the, party passes ahead of time so you can have your nightlife lined up if you don't want to let adventure find you. So we walked around for a while trying to find some adventure, and a lot of people have asked me how much is cover at different places, and to be honest, it's just like every other place in the world in which the club will charge you whatever the club will charge you at that moment in time. But that's not helpful, so let's give a couple examples. When we had walked past Mandala, they were trying to charge us around $30 for him to get in, no charge for me, but it was completely dead, again, a Tuesday night. And so we kept walking because they were also not playing the music we were looking for. And so we went to 24K, and this was our experience.
When we first pulled up, there was a dude downstairs trying to insist that I buy a bottle for me to get in. And I was like, yo, fam, there's no line, there's no nothing. I'm just going to walk upstairs and see what happens. And he was just like, oh, you can't walk upstairs. I was like, we'll see. So we just went upstairs and we walked right in. Nobody asked me to buy a bottle or nothing like that. We set up shop. I was in my zone, so I ordered a hookah, and I had a good time. I painted my face. I thought that was cool that they did that.
Do you remember how much the hookah was?
I feel it was in the $60 range. I'm not a fan of the hookahs in Mexico. I feel like anywhere I went, I found anything to what I consider quality or whatever.
If you watch this man's Instagram, he is always smoking hookah. Oh, what did you think of 24K that night?
The night we went, it was dead. The night we went, it was dead.
And even though it was dead, I had a great time. We had a really great time there. And a helpful tip, we paid with card when we were at 24K. Lots of places you can pay with your credit card. But a helpful tip, there are ATMs everywhere, all along this area, along the street. There's no shortage of them. There's probably more of them than there are trash cans. But I will also say they keep the streets very, very clean, at least when I was there. Okay, speaking of dead versus not dead, I did notice a difference in going out on Tuesday night versus going out on Wednesday night. So let's talk about that really quick. The next night, you and I went out separately, but I felt like the vibe was totally different in terms of being more busy and things like that. Did you notice that too, or not really?
Yes, because that place that we wanted to go smoke hookah at was pretty packed on Wednesday versus that Tuesday, and there was definitely more people in the that weird little alleyway. That little road that has like all the hookah shops, and there was like a live band playing out there. Like it was definitely more people rocking on that day versus our Tuesday night.
That is the perfect way to describe that alleyway, the weird alleyway.
So we both noticed that it was considerably busier the next day, but don't forget, we're talking about Wednesday versus Tuesday, so you can only imagine what the weekends are like. And don't forget, we're only talking about one little tiny area of Cancun. There's a whole nightlife scene in Cancun downtown and other parts. So this is just our experience from this one little part, but if you have tips about the other parts, make sure you add them in the description below. Let's talk about a helpful tip for this area for the next day.
It was fun last night. It's 10:30 a.m. There's a Starbucks like a block away. Let's do it.
Ooh, here's another helpful tip for the next day. If you're flying out early in the morning like we were, I arranged my taxi through the front desk at the hotel. There are taxis everywhere in Cancun, but because we were leaving right at 7:45 a.m. and I knew I wasn't going to be feeling my very best the next day, I made sure to arrange the taxi. I talk about that in my other video, but a short story from this part of Cancun, this part of the hotel zone, 25 minutes to get to the airport with no traffic. It cost me 500 pesos and or around $25. And that's how we got to the airport the next day.
Now it's time to go. Yeah. Bye, Cancun.
That's a lot of tips about nightlife. Make sure you check out Ibis.
You can find me on Instagram, Ibis Hernandez, YouTube, same name, or you can check out my website if you want to look at my professional work, ibishernandez.com.
And also check out all the helpful information in the show notes below. And PSA, I'm not saying it's time to go and party and travel. Only you can decide when the time is right for you. But when you are ready, I hope you found a helpful tip or two in here. I'm Christine. I'm here every week with new videos. I hope to see you in the next adventure. Ciao.